What's going on, everybody? So I need to get this done and out of the way because I have other things that I need to be doing. So let's get on with this. Welcome to the channel, and if you're new, please subscribe. So I'm going to discuss about a few things that I need you to really pay attention to, because the developers apparently have been going into the game and they've been changing this. So our rewards are no longer going to be the easy way, it's now the hard way. So those of you that loved the easy way, kiss your golden age goodbye, because it's no longer going to be like that. So to help you guys out so you guys don't go into a panic, because I know a lot of you probably are still working on a few things, you might have weapons that are garbage and you don't even know it because they've been doing changes and they haven't been telling players about it. That's really wrong, Modeman. You gotta fix that. Honestly, you're leaving people into a situation where they're going to be wasting money, time, and effort into producing stuff, and then it's going to be screwed over, and then you're going to lose players, which is bad for you and it's bad for this game. If we lose people, then you won't be able to have the game keep going, and then we'll lose a great, cool game that could have had potential and still does have potential. So this robot here, Curious, I would recommend for any beginning players out there. The reason I would recommend him, the reason why I want you to use him, is because he has the dash ability and he's the 4th fastest robot in the game. So a lot of players would be using him. Not only that, he has some really decent amount of health, and he's able to hold a medium and a light. Not all the other light bots can do that. If you count Alpha, but Alpha is kind of a premium in my opinion. He's kind of like a robot that's just out of the ordinary. But for starter outers, I would definitely recommend this spot. Now, Stark is really good when it comes to gameplay. He has the jump ability, which is he didn't in the beginning, but some weapons I would recommend is definitely not this one. Never invest your money in Dominator. I'm sorry, it's not worth it, guys. Miniguns, they look cool, they sound great, yada yada yada, but they're just so weak. Motormen, if you want these weapons to be decent, you gotta buff them. Honestly, this is ridiculous. 400 and this much damage, it's just not much. It's not worth it. Claimer is definitely worth it. Motormen, I swear, if you nerf this thing, you're dead to me. Honestly, it's decent now. It used to be really crappy. Same with Colt and Drillbolt. Drillbolt, though, is lack of accuracy, but he does 20k now. That's incredible for a weapon this size. And then Ranger. Honestly, Yuxatron and Ranger, they're the only 2 rocket weapons, and they need splash damage so they can be decent. I mean, the only one that is decent is Ranger because of his fast reload time, and because he's able to do 3,000 damage per rocket, and there's 16 of them. And their reload time is very short. Wolf, do not waste your money or your gold. Do not. I kid you not, this is like the worst thing to invest in right here. This weapon right here is the worst thing you can invest in. Why? Yes, it's cheap, but it's also wasting silver and time. Upgrades aren't cheap, and with them being now days, I would not recommend doing that. Now, for tank, you're going to have a tank in your setup. So let's see. Plex. Would definitely recommend Plex. He's got the same amount of tank as Rusty, if not even more tank. Not to mention, he's able to hold 2 heavies and 1 light. Now, his smash ability, not sure why Modeman gave him the smash ability and took his jump away. He was the most decent jumper in the whole game, and they just screwed him over. Now, weapons I would recommend for his heavy slots: no Axle, no Titan. Titan and Axle are gone, everybody. They're useless. You can play with them for fun, but they're useless. Do not even bother buying them or even upgrading them. Until they buff them or fix them, they're useless. Same with this guy here. Bolt is useless. Don't waste your silver on this weapon. Honestly, the worst weapon in the game right now. It's good for close quarter combat, and I have played with it, and it's fun, but it's just so weak. And heavy twins, now onto them. definitely put your silver into this thing. This thing is worth it. Honestly, I'm 6k per bullet, and there's 2 shots. That's 12k damage right there, so that's decent. And missiles. Honestly, I'm really disappointed, Motorman. I asked you to nerf the missiles. You gave them a buff. What are you thinking? Honestly. Brain dead over here. And Thunder, I don't get it. Thunder is not even it's not even worth it. Don't even invest in Thunder. Don't invest in... So basically, the only weapons you need to invest in is, of course, Heavy Bolt, because if you don't, you're screwed over, because it's OP as hell. I mean, the missiles, 10k per missile. That's insane. That's like one-shot level, which is ridiculous. It's unbelievable how missiles are, and not to mention they're heat seekers. And they nerfed Alden's dash ability, so you can't dash as good as you used to. Now, there is another counter to Alden, and it is this weapon right here, Eagle Eye. Now, there is the setup called Eagle Eye Prime, and it's a very decent setup, and Eagle Eye is finally decent, Motorman. Do not, and I repeat, do not nerf this weapon. You can give it a buff if you want, but it's really pushing it. It's actually decent now. Honestly, 18k is where it should have been for its high damage. It's a freaking sniper rifle. It should be shooting high damage. Now, as for Thunder, would not recommend him. He's honestly weaker than most light weapons. He's so cool, though. I really hate how they added such a cool, sweet weapon, made his heat durability super, super high, and his damage like super low. And it says that it has high damage rate. No, it doesn't. Don't even read that. Their information is lies. Lies! All of it. Now, another robot I would use is probably Rusty. I would definitely invest in Rusty. He is the strongest tank in the game right now until Crusher is released. I'm really hoping that they name him Crusher. That's a good, decent battle robot name for him. Crusher is basically the heavy robot with 4 heavy weapons. That has been talked about. They were going to try and add that. Not sure when they're going to add that. They've been saying they were going to add clans for the past 2 weeks, and they haven't done that either. Now, Match is another one I would use. He's able to hold 4 heavy weapons. Now, this one right here, Hammer, do not invest in it. 750 gold is not worth it. And yes, it's never able to lose his target. So all you noobs, don't use that weapon. Yuxatron is... Osex is pushing it. Honestly, it got a nerf hard, so because of past events. And then missiles, of course, yeah, no surprise there. We're gonna buff them too. Make them OP as hell. Unbelievable. I hate one-shots. It's stupid. And the only way you can counter it is with Alden. Well, basically, Alpha can do it too, and so can Cheetah, but only Dash bots can counter missiles. And Yuxatron, like Ranger, it's useless. Without splash damage, it's useless. Plus, this thing needs a buff. It's a medium, for Pete's sake. And then Plasma, Nyx, like Titan, it's useless. Don't even recommend it. Not even recommended. You could try and play with it if you want, but honestly, you're not going to get anywhere with it because it's so weak. Prime is decent now. Keep it where it's at, Motorman. Keep it where it's at. Long range, high damage, it's very useful. So players, if you want to go with sniper rifles and stuff, would recommend this. And this one, it's useless. There's no point in this weapon. I was so excited when this weapon came out, and guess what? They nerfed it even harder. Now it does only 842 damage, and its range has been lowered. I asked them, community. You said you guys wanted it to be buffed range. No. They're gonna nerf the range. Maybe I should say the opposite and see what happens, honestly. See if they'll do it the opposite way. But still, I'm just so disappointed. I mean, they did all these balance changes in-game, and they didn't say it in their Google Play registration when they update count. They're like, what's new? They say this, and this, and they didn't say that. Now, Spark is useless. Not even worth it. He's a runner. and he has no tank. And because Titans are basically screwed over and he's only able to hold light weapons, which Dominators are garbage, and Rangers take forever to reload sometimes, and other weapons are not worth it. He's basically put in the dust, guys. So to all you Spark players, I'm sorry. Your Spark is basically useless. It's obsolete. Nothing. It can't compete against nothing. Without Titans, it's worthless. Titans are basically the golden retriever on this thing. And then Alpha is the third fastest robot in the game. And because of the weapon changes in their new update, they're able to do level 40. So his speed will be upgraded. He'll still be level 3. He'll still be the third fastest because he's outbeat by Cheetah by 1 kilometer. Used to be 2 kilometers, which would make more sense. But no, it's just 1 kilometer. 68 kilometers per hour. So now let's discuss about the shield bots. The shield bots, ugh, they disappoint me, honestly. I asked them to fix the shield, they did, but not to what I wanted it to be, and not what anybody else wanted it to be. The shields are so weak, and honestly, if I asked other players in the game about the shields, they'd probably say the exact same thing. They're shields, for Pete's sake. They should be lasting like for at least a long freaking time, especially since your speed is cut down by almost, what, 50%? Literally went from 30 kilometers per hour all the way to like maybe 20 or more. That's kind of ridiculous, and your shield doesn't even last you that long. So as soon as your shield's gone, and Hawk can go right through it with one shot, same with missiles, same with Dozers, and Dozers is weaker than Storms because he's not a tank. He's a runner. Well, actually, he's a runner slash support, but basically, these robots I wouldn't recommend using until changes are due. Dashbots, always, I would recommend Dashbots. They are going to be the lifesavers in the game, honestly. They are the only things that can counter the missiles right now, and the missiles are OP as crap. I mean, tanks can get one shot by missiles, and that's ridiculous because they're tanks. They shouldn't be getting one shot by missiles. So, like I said, Cheetah, he's the fastest robot by 1 kilometer. Look at that, 68 kilometers per hour. Go, go, go. 1 kilometer, so it's going to be 1 kilometer faster. And then, of course, Alden, the Prime, best robot in the game. And with the updates, level 40, he's gonna, skyrocket to almost 80 kilometers plus. So, yeah, and he has tank, too. So, best robot by far in the game, would definitely recommend getting him. So, to all you lower ranked players, I'm wishing you luck, because I know the developers have really screwed us all over, and I'm really disappointed in them right now. And then jump bots, wouldn't even recommend them. Jump bots like this guy, he's useless. He has no tank, and what's the point if someone has a dash bot? You jump at them and you jump straight up in the air like a kangaroo, and you come right back down. So the robots I would recommend is Rusty, the dash robots, and of course the robots with shields, and Alden, who has the energy shield. And honestly, they need to make the energy shield a little bit more beneficial. I want to see some effects to the shield, and they haven't done that, which is really disappointing. So, all in all, guys, you need to be careful what you spend your silver on. So, spend wisely, because it's going to get harder and harder, because they want to try and make money. But honestly, in my opinion, if you want to make money, developers, you got to earn our trust first. You got to earn our respect. And right now, my respect is plummeting, because you made light weapons more better than the heavy weapons. And they're heavy weapons. The reason it says heavy, it just sickens me. So here's what it used to be. We used to have gold like this, decent amount. Then they changed it a little bit. Went from that to this, 400, decent. I get that, pretty nice. And then we went to this, and I was like, this is actually really decent, useful. I mean, you're not getting much. You get like 100 for a certain amount of hours, and then you have to restart. And then we went to this, what it is now. So you're making scrap metal, basically. little scraps that you find just enough to get a bucket of chicken on the street. And then you have the upgrades. Use the 30% discount and your discounts on your daily gifts. It's worth it. And then here's the ranks. Rank is now 103. That's max level. And then they added in the health bar. Now that's another thing I wanted to talk about. iOS players have been getting this thing first, the HP bars, but here's another thing that isn't really fair. The graphics are good, and the robot designs are better. I love them now, but iOS has been getting things rather later rather than before, which isn't really fair. The game is cross-platform, so giving Android players the strategic advantage over iOS, not gonna fly, Modeman. So I would suggest that you would update both platforms at the same time rather than later. So the iOS players, you will get the game this version later, but honestly, you're not missing much. They didn't really add much. We're still expecting to get clans soon, but right now they kind of pushed us back. But without further ado, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. There's a few things that I'm not too happy about with what they've done so far, but hey, I'm not gonna judge, but